What's up you guys, it's Aditi. Welcome back to our channel. Let's begin with the part 2 of how our body produces sleep. If you haven't seen part 1 then please go check it out. पहले वो देखो because you're not gonna get this because we're gonna use a lot of these jargons that are used in and I've explained in the part 1, so you really need to go watch that video. So stop this video right now. I'm gonna give a link I think right here. Go click on it on the I button and go check that out first. I think we'll wait till then. Okay, let's begin. I think those people are gone, so let's begin with part 2. Let's just revise a little bit, like just brush up. If you want to watch the part 1 again, you can join those people, but let's just brush up a little bit. We spoke about two things in part 1. One was the circadian rhythm, our internal endogenous 24-hour clock which is in the hypothalamus, and this clock gets reset by the daylight, so the light from the sun, and every living species that lives for longer days uses sunlight to reset their 24-hour clock, internal clock. Even plants do that. I've explained an experiment, it happened in 1728 I think. So that's first part. The second part that we did was suprachiasmatic nucleus. In short, we're again going to call it SCN. It is something that actually resets or controls the circadian rhythm, our 24-hour internal clock. So circadian rhythm is found in SCN and SCN is found in hypothalamus, and that's how hypothalamus actually controls this. To understand hypothalamus, please go and watch my limbic system video. You will know it much better. I hope this was enough of a summary prasthavana of part 1. So let's begin with part 2. Okay, so let's begin with the first point today, which is melatonin. And I know that everybody has heard of melatonin and everybody knows that it is somehow related to sleep. So let's learn that today. So what happens is that SCN understands or gets aware of the light and of the dark, and then it communicates this repeating signal of night and dark to the brain. So soon after dusk, the SCN, which is in the hypothalamus, communicates this to the pineal gland. Then pineal gland releases the hormone called melatonin, and melatonin gets secreted in the bloodstream. So melatonin is something that actually helps us regulate the timing of sleep. Okay, so what melatonin does is that it is like a bullhorn. It is a bhonga, and it starts shouting a clear message to the brain and our body that it's dark, it's dark, it's dark. So our brain and body know that the time to go to sleep is approaching. And in this way, melatonin helps regulate our sleep timing systematically. Many people believe that melatonin has a huge influence on sleep. It doesn't actually. Like I already said, that it generates or it regulates the timing of sleep and not sleep per se. So what melatonin actually does is that it only provides the official instruction to regulate sleep. Then the other brain areas and processes actually actively generate sleep. Like I've explained this in SCN part, in part 1, light travels through the eyeballs, through the optic nerve, and goes back to the occipital lobe for visual processing. So when light passes or comes through our eyeballs or eyelids, closed eyelids, our SCN knows that, oh, it's sunlight, and that's when it tells the pineal gland to stop secreting melatonin. And then once the melatonin secretion is stopped, the absence of melatonin in the body and the brain lets the brain and the body know that, oh, it's morning, it's time to wake up. I want to just rewind and just show you this one tiny clip that I had shown or what I had said in the part 1 of this video. These two factors determine when you fall asleep and when you wake up, and these two factors powerfully influence your mind and body. The first factor is our 24-hour rhythm, our internal clock known as the circadian rhythm. So circadian rhythm is the one of those factors. The other factor is known as sleep pressure. A chemical called adenosine continues to build in your brain for as long as you're awake, during day and or at night. So the longer adenosine you have, it keeps accumulating in your brain, and the longer you have the adenosine accumulated, you have this irresistible urge to actually fall asleep, to sleep I should say. So this is like the second factor that determines when you want to sleep and when you want to be awake. This happens to most people after being awake for say 12 to 16 hours. Although you can artificially mute this by consuming caffeine, but that is a whole video in itself. So if you want something like that, then leave it in the comment section below. Banda hazir hai, bandi hazir hai. Although I don't know if you have seen the first video in my sleep series, I had mentioned that don't take naps after 3 p.m. This is the reason why I said this, because when you wake up, adenosine starts building up, and then you take nap at 3 p.m. The adenosine accumulation reduces when you sleep, and then it takes time for your brain to accumulate the adenosine when it's the actual time for you to fall asleep at night. So that's the reason why I said I don't take naps at 3 p.m. like after 3 p.m. Okay, so the two factors were SCN, suprachiasmatic nucleus, and the second is adenosine or sleep pressure. You may be wondering that these two factors work in collaboration to make you fall asleep, but that is not true. They work separately, all on their own. They are very distinct systems, but they are kind of aligned the way they work. So I'm going to like insert a picture so you can see. So the dotted line is the circadian rhythm, and then the normal line is the sleep pressure. The y-axis is the 48 hours, 2 days and 2 nights. Circadian rhythm starts sending a signal to the brain and body before you actually wake up. So you tend to wake up around 8 o'clock and it's already morning. So when it's like dawn, circadian rhythm starts to increase its activity, and it starts sending this alerting signal to our body and brain, which actually makes us wake up. The signal is faint at first, but it gradually keeps increasing and increasing. By late afternoon, the circadian rhythm is at its peak in most healthy adults. Now let's look at the adenosine or sleep pressure. So the longer you stay up, the more accumulation of adenosine is there in your brain. So by late afternoon, you have been awake only for a few hours, so the adenosine just increases or accumulates only a little bit, so you don't actually have a strong urge to sleep. So the circadian rhythm together with low levels of adenosine makes us have an irresistible urge to sleep. So the longer the distance between the two, the greater the urge to sleep. Let's take an example. After being woken up at 8 o'clock, you're not going to feel like sleeping at 11 a.m. because there is going to be a small distance between circadian rhythm and the levels of adenosine. The minimal difference between the two, the weak sleep drive you'll have and a strong urge to be awake. However, by 11 p.m. or say 10 p.m., you have been up for like 14-15 hours, so your brain is completely drenched in adenosine. And as it's dark, the circadian rhythm is also descending and powering down your activity and your alertness levels. So, the combination of the two, the high levels of adenosine and the descending of circadian rhythm, actually creates a strong urge to sleep. As you're sleeping across the night, the sleep does the heavy lifting of the adenosine load and lightens the adenosine load, and as it becomes morning, the circadian rhythm returns and tells your body and your brain that it's time to be awake, and then you wake up. So that's how our sleep works, or that's how our body produces sleep. I hope you have understood the whole thing. Please watch both the videos together so you will understand it much better. I hope you have learned something. I hope you take something out of this. If you have any other video topics, please leave it in the comment section. Subscribe to this channel and hit the bell notification so you'll be notified every time I post a new video. I'm gonna see you next Friday with a little different video. Not gonna be a sitting one bombarding you with a lot of information, a little different one. So I'll see you next Friday.